Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you, and today we'll be looking at the how can I put this? The first month of Absolute Carnage. So, what exactly is Absolute Carnage? Absolute Carnage is a Marvel event similar to War of the Realms, but with a much more localized feel. As this is not going to involve every Marvel character somehow. This is mainly going to focus on Spider-Man characters, as well as a few select others. Basically, anyone who's ever had a symbiote attached to them. This is also the first thing that Donny Cates has been building towards with his run on Venom. So, what we'll be doing is going through the books in as close to the order that the chronological order that they occur as we can figure out, at least. In some cases, there's some odd overlap. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll start things off with Absolute Carnage, Separation Anxiety. So, this takes place at an undetermined point in time before Absolute Carnage #1. Figure, I would say, I don't know, at the very least, 3 days beforehand, so that the family of 4 involved can make it from Colorado to New York. So, what this issue focuses on on 4 of the 5 Life Foundation symbiotes. There's actually a little. It does not actually list their names. But amongst them were Riot and Lasher. It was Riot, Lasher. Scream is separate. Has been separated from the 5. But Riot, Lasher, and I don't remember the names of the other 2. Anyway, so the 4 of them, when they were last seen, merged into a new entity called Hybrid, and most recently bonded to a stray dog after an adventure involving Deadpool. But no one knows where the dog went. So, anyway, so we begin in Carrington Cottage, Colorado. And, well, the dog pops up right off the bat. Get a crying kid, and the kid's family's about to split up. I mean, his mom's about to take him and his sister, or take her and his brother, her and her brother, and leave their dad. Constantly arguing. Well, she sneaks the dog in, and yeah, the symbiote's just kind of let loose, and over the course of the book, they kill they possess the family and kill one of the neighbors. And it takes a while to possess Sadie, the girl from the beginning, but eventually, yeah, they get to Sadie. And, so the quartet then, once all 4 are possessed, they load up the family station wagon and, well, make their way cross country. Next up, we've got the first issue of the main book, Absolute Carnage #1. So, we start off with kind of a rundown on symbiote history. Including Null and the planet of the symbiotes and so on and so forth. Then we also learn that apparently everyone who's ever had a symbiote bonded to them. Once the symbiote left, it didn't leave the host as they found it, but rather left a little bit behind, which is referred to as the codex. Now, the Venom symbiote and its various offspring, well, they've been cut off from the Clintarn hive mind for a very long time. But there's this idea that if you were to gather all the codexes, put them all together, perhaps they could reconnect to the hive, and perhaps they could wake up Null, the symbiote god. And if that happens, well, then Null kills everything because, well, yeah. So Eddie Brock and his son Dylan, who is under the mistaken impression that he is Eddie's brother, are making their way through New York when a whole bunch of screens pop up saying that Eddie Brock is wanted, extremely dangerous. He killed a whole bunch of people at Rikers Island. Of course, it wasn't Eddie. It was Carnage. There's a little nod to one of Venom's earliest appearances when he pushed Spider-Man into the subway tracks. But the symbiote has managed to track down Eddie and saves Eddie from being hit by a subway train. Eddie and the symbiote rebond, and well, they make an escape. Well, Carnage provides an excellent distraction, and it also shows he's much more powerful than Venom. So Venom realizes he needs help. Well, there's really only one person he can think of that can really, help. Spider-Man. And so Eddie tells Spider-Man what's going on. And we find out that a mass grave has been found in northern New Jersey. Various bodies exhumed and placed here. All of them with their spines removed. Included amongst the bodies were several key players of the Life Foundation, as well as General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. So they go to see the Maker. Because, well, of course, Eddie's gotten to know the young, evil version of Reed Richards. That's what he is. It's it's Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe who went evil. Well, it turns out that the Maker is working on a machine that can remove codexes without killing the person. And so one idea is they So he figures, hey, let's test it on Norman Osborn Jr. But Spider-Man's like, what if it kills him? We can't have it we can't have the machine screw up and kill him. So, of course, well, then bring me somebody else. So, Venom and Spider-Man head to Ravencroft Institute to break out Norman Osborn, who recently decided to switch from being a Green Goblin to the Red Goblin, courtesy of bonding with the Carnage symbiote. He also actually was actually truly in control there. As the Red Goblin, he actually took control, which is quite the feat. Downside is that when he was captured and when he was beaten and all was said and done, well, Osborn was fairly certain that he was not Norman Osborn anymore, but rather Cletus Cassidy. Yeah. Also, Cletus Cassidy himself has actually been brought back from the dead by the Cult of Carnage. So, Venom and Spidey break into Ravencroft to, well, save Osborn. But, well, Carnage shows up. And basically starts handing out symbiotes to the other inmates. And then they all get loose. So, yeah. Venom and Spidey fight the Carnage inmates, but it's not really, yeah, it's not looking well. Like things are going to work out well. And before they can escape, though, Carnage gets to Osborn and recarnagizes him. So yeah, things ain't looking good for Spidey and Venom. So this plot point picks up. So we then pick up with Venom number 17. Venom number 17 picks up right where Absolute Carnage number 1 left off. It's the fight, Spidey and Venom's fight against Carnage and his symbiotic minions is not going well. Back at the Maker, Rex Strickland's warehouse, where the Maker is working on his machine, the Maker has finished it. And like, well, hey, it's finished. So, the reason why Norman Osborn Jr.'s got as a codex is because, well, when his grandfather was the Red Goblin, Norman, being the loving parental figure that he is, gave a little bit of the Carnage symbiote to his grandson. Yeah. Like I said, parental figure of the friggin' year. But Dylan's like, no, no, no. We got to make sure it doesn't kill him first. So, so we have to wait for Spider-Man and Venom to come back. But you're like, well, what if they don't, huh? But as they're arguing, the Life Foundation symbiotes arrive. And so the Maker unleashes his the defenses in the warehouse. And Dylan and Normie lock themselves in a room, which does happen to have weapons. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that the Maker's overwhelmed, but it does prove 3 to 4 on 1 does prove to be a little more than he can handle physically. And then just as it looks like the Life Foundation symbiotes are going to get to Norman and Dylan, another symbiote named Sleeper arrives, claiming to be family. And at least subdues, if not kills, one of the Life Foundation symbiotes. Next up, we've got Absolute Carnage Scream, #1. Scream is the 5th of the Life Foundation symbiotes. And I part of me wants to say the most popular, but I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. Okay. Scream, Lasher, Riot, Agony, and Phage. So, basically, the Scream symbiote brings Donna Diego, the initial host of Scream, back from the dead. Much the same way that the combination of the Grendel symbiote and the Carnage symbiote had brought Cletus Cassidy back. So, in New York, Carnage's symbiotic minions are, well, running rampant. But, and one of them is stopped by Scream, who basically kill steals. And so the host of another, Patricia Robertson, who was once bonded to a clone of the Venom symbiote, has trained, and she's trained and armed, and yeah, she's basically saying, "Okay, time to do what I've been training for." And so that's exactly what she does. But while fighting Scream, she does do some damage to the remains of the host, but the symbiote takes her over now. He kind of links away for a bit to see what the hordes are going after. Apparently, they're going after a woman named Andy Benton, who was also once a host. Well, the minion symbiotes might be a match for Andy, but Scream might not be. Moving on to Absolute Carnage versus Deadpool, #1. So this takes place after the events of Venom, where Spider-Man and Venom make their escape from Ravencroft. So we start with a flashback wherein Deadpool plans a surprise birthday party for Spider-Man. It's not actually Spider-Man's birthday, but, well, yeah. And invited all of Spider-Man's rogues because Deadpool doesn't know who Spider-Man's friends are. Rhino actually got him a present, too. Because as we've learned recently, Rhino's actually kind of a decent dude. So, Spider-Man's just like, okay, we're no more of this weird partnership. And gives him the card for John Jameson at Ravencroft. And Deadpool checks out the gift. So weeks later, Deadpool goes to Ravencroft to check things out. Not realizing this is the same point when Carnage has basically shown up and taken over. But he does figure it out. And, yeah. Carnage's symbiotic minions go after Deadpool. And Deadpool actually manages to make pretty decent work out of him by putting a whole bunch of metal into some microwaves and chucking the microwaves at him. Which allows Deadpool to escape. But then as Carnage is about to discipline the symbiotic version of John Jameson, he has a sudden realization. Deadpool's actually kind of the jackpot when it comes to codexes. He's merged with 4 different symbiotes. So, yeah, I mean, that's actually kind of, yeah, he'd be the jackpot, so they gotta find him. Next up comes Absolute Carnage Miles Morales, #1, which I would say this takes place kind of, well, Absolute Carnage Miles Morales and Absolute Carnage #2, I would say actually kind of run concurrently. And so we'll start with Miles Morales. While fighting the Scorpion, who was trying to rob an armored car, Miles Morales ends up teaming up with the Scorpion to fight the symbiotic horde of Ravencroft inmates, who really just want Gargan, as he was a former host of the Venom symbiote. Well, yeah. And Miles actually kind of knows what's up because he's dealt with something similar before. and symbiote related. But yeah, anyways, Venom himself shows up. Well, Carnage shows up, then Venom shows up. And Venom helps Scorpion escape. However, Carnage decides that it'd be more fun to turn Miles into one of his symbiotic henchmen rather than kill him. And so that's exactly what he does. Now, in the little events that led up to that and some of the events afterwards, we have Absolute Carnage number 2. So, we begin with with the actual escape of Spider-Man and Venom from Ravencroft. So I guess Deadpool 1 happens concurrently to this. And the Maker contacts Eddie to explain that his late ex-wife didn't have a codex in her. Her body wasn't found in the mass grave, so he theorized she didn't have a codex in her. That she passed it along to their son, Dylan. And then Venom starts tracking down the symbiotic henchman. We get a little bit of a tussle between Norman Osborn and Carnage himself. Keeping in mind that Carnage thinks he's Cletus Cassidy. And a little nod to what all's going on in all the tie-ins. So Venom comes upon Scorpion and Miles, helps Scorpion escape, and leaves Miles there. To be turned into one of Carnage's symbiotic henchmen. And that is how as far as we've gotten in month 1 of Absolute Carnage. Like I said, this will be the first of, I guess, 4 videos, as Absolute Carnage will take place over the span of August, September, October, and November. So yeah, we'll be doing one of these a month up to the end of Absolute Carnage. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal are in the description box down below. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload new content. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.